Well, speaking of the stigma of CrossFit, as this episode airs on Wednesday, the CrossFit Games are going on for
Yeah,
2023. Could that have lent something to the stigma of look at these people like doing
totally.
this crazy shit? I mean, it's a big money maker. I think it's still on ESPN, right? So it's a big money maker
Sure.
to be out there every year. But what does that convey to people? Because I've seen CrossFit people actually even come out and say, I don't train like this all year round.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
so they think now, like 12 months out of year, you're doing all that crazy stuff and everything.
Yeah,
And that's what I think may have caused the bigger misconception most recently. And it,
totally.
and these people with this voice don't, you hear it once in a while, but it's not as prominent to get people to embrace it more and not be intimidated by it. So the
Totally.
word needs to get out more that the CrossFit Games don't represent 12 months a year of CrossFit.
Sure. Sure. Well, and so to that point, yes, the CrossFit Games does contribute to some of the negative side effects because people are not negative side effects, but the negative stigma, because people look at it and are like, man, I can't do that. That's crazy. Why would you do any of that stuff? These people are nuts, And like that's the number one response that I get from a non-CrossFitter about the CrossFit Games when I talk to them. But think about it like this. You don't watch the NFL and think, man, those guys are crazy. I can never do that. And not go play flag football. Like you don't equate your flag football that you play on a Saturday or when you play football with your buddies or whatever, or baseball, like Major League Baseball versus your softball league. You know what I mean? Like there's two different things. You're looking at the most elite athletes in the sport versus Pee Wee League baseball, and it's just it's a total difference in the mindset. And so when you can put the CrossFit Games in that space of, okay, this is the elite of the elite in that sport, right? And so they're calling a sport of fitness, and those are the elite athletes. You don't compare the elite athletes to just the average person playing the sport of fitness. And like the NFL, you're not going to compare your buddy Aaron Rodgers to the high school quarterback. It's not the same. They're not the
Here's my
same.
buddy. Here's my buddy.
Here's your buddy. You look just like
I'll be Cameron Poe for Halloween this year. I'm going to do it. I'm finally going to do it. Well, I have to push back a little bit though, because
sure.
when you do watch the NFL or even when you watch wrestling, which I think wrestling could be more of an analogy to CrossFit of, if you want to do this, there's an element of danger for people that don't know what they're doing.
Sure.
But I do feel like too that we watch NFL for entertainment and we're not trained to do that. CrossFit's a little bit different from what you're saying because how can I compartmentalize it? I can because I understand it at this point, but how can somebody that hasn't worked out, doesn't have the experience to know the difference, look at both separately? Because these people are a product of CrossFit, the brand.
Sure.
And when you walk into a gym, you're going to have those preconceived notions. If you can step through the door,
Sure.
you're going to have your preconceived notions squashed right away. But it's a matter of getting in the car and driving to the gym and going through the door. My question, which I'm eventually getting to, is how can CrossFit differentiate the games from the person, John Smith, that wants to go to the gym?
Sure.
You see, it's not me going, we're playing flag football, but we realize we're not NFL players. But these people are either publicly on the front facing side, or how can I say, subconsciously, people think when they see them that, oh, that's a product of CrossFit and they're doing CrossFit and I can't do that. Do you get the analogy is not a one-to-one like football or maybe even wrestling to some extent?
Sure. But it is kind of the same in that you watch football for entertainment, you watch wrestling for entertainment, you think you could never do that. The CrossFit Games is entertainment. I mean, it really is when you think about it. Yes, they're doing the same basic things that anybody can do at any level. And we could go play football. People could go have a wrestling match if they wanted to, like in their backyard, they could totally do that, but it's not going to be at the same level of elite athletes that it is in the CrossFit Games. And so I think CrossFit could do a little more to focus on the affiliates and spend more time focused on the affiliate gyms and promoting health and fitness and wellness in the affiliates. And yes, the games needs to be there though. It's like the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is the biggest ticket item and it attracts so many eyes to the NFL. And then that big ticket item brings eyes to the NFL. And then maybe because somebody who had never watched the Super Bowl before watches the Super Bowl, falls in love with the pageantry of it and the game, and it's a great game. And now they become diehard become diehard NFL fans. And then they fall in love with their local team. And then they wear and support their team and all that kind of stuff. And it's a trickle down effect. So with CrossFit, the CrossFit Games is the big ticket item of like, hey, look at what we can do. Here's the pageantry. Here's all the excitement. Maybe this will help you fall in love with CrossFit. Maybe you can fall in love with the personalities, the stories, whatever there. And now it's a trickle down effect of, oh, you can actually go do the same things that you can do. And that's the one difference between CrossFit and professional sports. You're not going to, it's not as easy to go have a football game. You don't, when you get older, you just don't do that as much, but you can go train to play football, but you can go do the actual things. And there is kind of a cool piece to in CrossFit, at the games, the workout, you can go do the exact same workout that those people competed at the games did and see how you compare to them. And so that's kind of a cool thing and a unique piece to it, given the sport. So the games, in my opinion, does hurt a little from the stigma of, oh, wow, I can't do that. But it helps so much more in like showing what's possible. And then if the affiliates then back that up when you go to your local affiliate, at least making you aware, because a lot of people aren't even aware that they have a CrossFit affiliate in their town. But the games can be the thing that turns them on to it, which then when they get into a CrossFit affiliate, they can totally change their life and live healthier every day because they got plugged in there. If you like that, check the links in the description to catch full episodes of the Big Fitness Show podcast.